Good morning.
Oh, hey.
How are you?
I'm glad it worked. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. Doing good.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Angelica is joining our group,
Okay.
and um, sister, what's the instructor for this class? Is it Hill, or is that my other one?
I think Lake, I
Oh,
want to say.
okay, Sister Lake. She gave me her email like on one of our threads.
Okay.
It says that it's not found. Do you happen to? And it's a BYU email.
Oh, I don't here. I can go try to look it up really quick.
Oh, you know what? Would it be at byui.edu? So yeah,
Yes.
BYU. I
Yeah.
that's wrong. Let me see if I can hurry and send her.
Okay. So good. How are you, Rachel?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. So I had that major freak out with that assignment, and I read the example, and I was like, 8 pages? And then I was like,
Like,
there's no way. In like
yeah.
in less than a week, and so I freaked out, and I sent you guys the email, and you're like, just do the outline, and I was like, okay, I can do that.
I don't know, cause I was, so I read it and I thought it said do the outline, and then I went back and looked at it, and I don't know. It seems like we have to. She said outline the topic in a paper, so I think we have to like write the paper, but just kind of give a brief overview of the topic.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know,
I
cause I was
think
rereading it this morning.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna, because it has like the different questions. Is like, well, what does the world think about this? And then you could just give like a couple bullet points
Yeah.
and, well, what does the Lord think of this? And then you put in, I think that's just what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, because I was looking at it and I was like, I think I told Rachel wrong, so I was gonna tell you.
Well, I think I'm just gonna do an outline. So
So,
Fair enough.
did you guys
talk
print
about
off
it.
that example? I know you've talking about that.
Yeah.
That was like 8 pages.
Yeah, there was
It
no
was
way I was
super
gonna write
long.
8 pages myself.
No, I don't think we'd have to. So.
Well, I'm just gonna do an outline, and if I get docked for it, then I get docked for it. Whatever.
That's fair.
I'm gonna tell them that I talked to someone, which I
Yeah.
will.
There you go.
So.
The problem is they are conflicting instructions. I don't know. I don't know.
So, how are you, Allison?
I'm fine.
Good.
Just fine. It's been a really busy school week for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've not moved from this chair for 3 days.
Right?
I need a break.
How many classes you have, Allison?
What? Sorry,
Oh.
Alicia, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh,
Is it just me or is it everybody?
No, I can't hear you very well either. I
I can
think
hear you, but you're really quiet.
maybe we should try, like, if you're not talking, try to mute your microphone and see if that helps cut out, like, background noise. So, like, I'll mute mine and then we'll see if it works.
Okay, can you guys hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just mute if we're not talking.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, I'll try to remember. I'm going to start talking and then nobody's going to hear me because
Yeah, I think if we just take turns just like muting it, I think it'll help cut out the background noise.
I know my computer is super loud, like it runs loud. So it might just be, even if I just mute mine, it might help everyone involved. It's a good thing I'm not in charge today. I'm just recording today.
There you go.
Okay, so I sent an email to our new group member, and I don't know if you guys saw that thread last week.
Oh, yeah.
And she never responded on it, so I'm not sure if Sister Lake responded with her email address. So and then it was wrong. It said it wasn't a valid email address, so I think it was because it didn't have an I at the end of BYU.
Hi.
And so I just, hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just sent her a new one, and I don't know if she's coming. I don't even know if this is a good time for her.
Okay.
It's kind of like a good time for her, but if she hasn't responded, I wonder if she even knows that we're doing this. Should I see if there's a phone number or something? Try to text her really quick. Like on the sheet where it gave us the list of who's in our group, we are supposed to do an email address and a phone number if we wanted to. Maybe there's a phone number there. Can you remember her name?
Maybe.
Angelica. And I don't know what her last name is.
Okay, I'm gonna just stick out for just a second, and I will come back in a minute. I'll listen to you though, so if you want to keep talking, come.
Okay. Did somebody volunteer to like lead the discussion?
Oh, I don't know if we did. I can if you want.
Did
I
you
was
do
trying to
it?
look for the. No, I did the technological side of it. I was looking for the word. Yes, I mean, unless someone else really wants to.
And I know she said it needs to be 3 different people doing the 3 different jobs. So
Okay.
Shalay, mind, that would be great. And then we
Yeah,
can
for sure.
jobs next week.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So.
And
We
maybe
can just
we can
wait. Yeah.
So how's everyone been doing this?
I'm still looking. I'm not. But if you guys want to start, I'll like start the recording. Are we recording already?
I think so.
It looks like we're live already.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm still trying to find the paper or the day we were supposed to sign up. I think it's under introduction. Anyway, I'm going to mute myself again. Sorry.
All right. So do we want to just start then, and then if Angelica comes, she can just hop in?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And Alex, really quick, her last name is Lippe. I just looked that up. Lippe. Angelica Lippe. I don't know. Okay. So yeah. Okay. I'm done.
Okay. No, you're totally good. Thank you. Okay. So, I guess first of all, did anyone have anything that like really stuck out to them this week that you were just like super excited about, or that you felt like was just something really new or mind-blowing that you really enjoyed learning about?
I was just reading, so I am still getting the hang of things, but I was just reading the Loving Others and Living with Differences that we're supposed to read for today. And I thought that was super interesting because loving others who are different can definitely be a huge problem, and even if like we're all members and stuff. And I was reading the email that Brother Barry got that it talked about where that dad was really upset and everything, and it just was super interesting because we're supposed to, and it mentioned like same-sex attraction and everything and how we should love them even though we don't like what they're doing kind of thing, and that can be really hard and that can start a lot of problems. But if we just are like Christ-like and everything and just love them for who they are and for them as a person, then we could get rid of a lot of problems, especially in the church, I think. So, because a lot of people get offended with that and everything, so, which is unfortunate. So,
That's a super awesome point.
Can I interject there for a second? I'm listening. I'm
Go
still
for it.
searching, but I'm listening. I was thinking that, we're taught that we need to love unconditionally, make sure that we're being Christ-like. I wondered what your thoughts are, how you would react. I mean, it for me, like, I don't have problems in general loving people. I don't care who you are. I don't have problems loving people. I love everybody. My problem comes in where people think that I don't love you because I don't believe the same as you. So I wondered what your thoughts were about that. And maybe it's more where I live, but I feel like no matter how much I try to love others, I don't. Maybe I shouldn't care if somebody doesn't like me. Maybe that's my problem. But I do. I do care if somebody feels like that I don't love them just because I don't believe the same that they do. Just isn't that making any sense to you? What are your thoughts about that? I don't. Maybe I'm not articulating very well. That's something to work on.
I think that makes sense because a lot of, I think, same-sex attraction people in the church, they're like, well, you won't accept me because I am same-sex attraction. And like they feel like they're not welcome in the church or to go to their ward or anything because people are judging them, and so that kind of makes sense. So I definitely feel that like people don't believe, like even if someone came out and was like in the ward and was like, hey, I'm this and blah blah blah, like people would still be like, okay, like it's good for you, like that's totally fine and you're still welcome to come to church and everything like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Something too that you made me think of, Allison, with this question. So like my husband and I talked about this actually last week. It's not exactly the same situation, but kind of similar. So like there's this person that we know from high school who kind of, I'm not gonna like kind of offended me, just did some things that were not very kind, and to a point where I don't really want to be in that situation, like be in a situation with him, just because I'm like, okay, that kind of friendship, like, don't want to be friends anymore. But I am like you, Allison, I'm worried, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be rude to this person and make them think that I hate them as a human being, because I don't. I've just lost trust, and so I don't want to be, in a kind of that situation. And so my husband and I talked a lot. I talked with my parents too this past week about how, you can still, like you're saying, show that Christ-like love, but it's up to them to choose how to accept it. And that can be so hard sometimes to, we always talk about agency and how it's this wonderful thing, but then when people use their agency to do things that aren't right or that hurt us, it's really hard to accept that principle. But I feel like that's so fundamental. Like we just do what we can and then let other people choose. It's like, I don't know if you guys got to see Women's Conference this weekend, but President Uchtdorf in his talk, he said, you're in charge of your own discipleship. And if people, choose to ridicule you or persecute you for that, just ignore them. And so, like, as hard as that is sometimes, I feel like we have to do that. Just because as much as we'd like to help everyone, sometimes people don't want to be helped, so we kind of just have to, like, just do the best we can and then let them choose.
Yeah, that's true.
And, my thoughts about that, starting with what Allison said, and I agree. Allison, I think you and I are a lot alike personality-wise. I really worry, that someone's not going to like me or be upset with something I think or do. That's where I struggle. Is I really do. I don't feel like I have any hatred or strong feelings against any person or any group of people, but it's hard when I feel like I'm being called a bigot or a racist or not equal because I think that just hits us hard. Like, when did we get to a place in this world where we can't disagree on a lifestyle choice or or on ideology without being bigoted. You know, and that's a hard one for me to take. And so I think I am more likely to try to kind of stay silent about stuff because I really don't want to be put in a position where I may be called a bigot. Does that make sense? You know, it's a really tough situation.
Can you hear me? Sorry. So it looks like my computer's weird. So I was thinking that, oh, where did it go? Now I'm all flustered. I'm thinking about the video that we watched about the girl that had that confrontation in the classroom, and then she went to talk to her bishop, and then she went back and talked to that individual girl. I was thinking about what she said about being called a bigot, because I think that word is like, it just makes us like, am I a bigot? You know, they're calling me a bigot. Does that mean I am a bigot? I mean, maybe I am a bigot. I don't know. But I appreciated what she said. She talked about how being a bigot is equal to hatred. And I don't think that the people that call us bigoted know what that word means. I mean, they may feel like we're coming at them from a hating, like a background of prejudice or whatever. But in reality, I think it's kind of what you said, Alicia. It's like we can still be friends and still not not agree on certain things. I'm not going to make you feel the way I do, and I don't want you to make me feel the way you do. I'm not any more bigoted than a person that doesn't agree with me. So I think it's that word that we just are like, I don't like that word. It's a mean, hateful word, and I have a hard time. That's what I need to get over. Maybe it's the context of the word is not being understood. Maybe I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt here, but I don't think that people are using it in the way that I know, how I feel the word is. Does that make sense? But there are people who are they just really get up in your face when you don't agree with them, and that's really scary to me. I don't like that.
Well, I think you kind of feel like, at least for me, that the minute somebody calls bigot, racist, hater, I mean, it's like it stops the conversation. You've now been labeled this, and this is what you are because, like you said, Allison, you don't agree. And it's actually kind of a smart tactic, really, to use. Just, well, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you don't care about people, you're hateful, and it shuts down everything. So I agree. That video that we watched, it was really, really good in explaining what you're saying that I am isn't accurate, and you can't always make somebody see that, but it isn't necessarily true just because you don't agree.
I was thinking about that video as well, and I do like how can you guys see me? Okay. Not that I want you to, but I was thinking about also how with communication, bad communication is when you sort of assume that you know someone's character, when really you're looking at their behavior and you're just assuming that you know just like what we were learning about, where they're coming from. And so I don't enjoy being called a bigot either, but I think in the video what was cool is that she was explaining it so simply, and so the second time she was explaining it without an attitude, and instead she was saying that she wants her beliefs to also be acknowledged her beliefs to also be acknowledged as being free speech, or as being religious freedom or whatever. And she said that what they can do to support each other is to make sure that the other one does have or is able to speak their mind, is able to believe what they want, is able to have those rights, and that they're not going to be infringed upon. And so I liked that she pointed out, like, I care about your rights as well, and that's what I'm fighting for as well. No matter what you believe, I'm going to fight for those rights as well, because I enjoy those and I don't want to lose those. And so I liked how she said that. And also I was thinking about the quote in Elder Lynn G. Robbins' talk that talks about how we invert the first and the second great commandments when we try to please man over God, when we forget which way we face. And it says that that's a mistake, that we fear man. And even, I think it talked about how, at some point it talked about how Christ, when he was being taken to be crucified and all that, he was worried about the man that got his ear cut off. And so he was still, even though he was under fire, I mean, he was still making sure to take care of other people. And he was thinking in that way. And I think that really showed what kind of man he was, or what kind of person he was, which gave him a better way to teach the gospel. I mean, people, I don't know, at least that man that was helped with his ear, he might have been softened. And so I think that's important to do both, to make sure that we're not fearing man, but also to make sure that we're looking out for them, and that they know that we're just like them. We want the same rights, we want the same privileges, we want to be accepted as well, and that maybe we're sensitive to that word as well, like it hurts us. And so I think that could be our strength, to kind of be vulnerable in that. So yeah.
Stephanie, that was beautifully put. Can I just say that? That was amazing. Seriously, I love just like everything you just said there. You got me thinking too. I really like that you said that vulnerability is a strength. So one of the other classes I'm taking this semester is a conflict management and negotiation class. It's a communication class, and it's super interesting so far. But we talked about that in our first week, how vulnerability is like, you have to have that in order to have an open dialogue and a conversation with someone. And we also talked about the point that you were saying, that when we do talk with others, we need to see them as people, rather than just like things to impose our will upon. And so, like what you were saying, when we talk to people and we respect them as others, and then help them to see us as people, like in that video, she said, okay, like, you said that I was like this, and that is not true. I am a person, and and we have these equal rights because we are people. And so I think that's super important to, like, try the best we can to help others see us as people, but also to see them as people. And then in that video, and also the other video with, I think it was Marsha Barlow from the United Families International, with her presentation, she was talking about finding common grounds. And that's something that I've been trying to work on this week, is like just seeing, okay, I don't agree with you on this issue, but like, what is your real underlying, why are you fighting for this? So like, for example, with the, example of same-sex marriage, people, okay, we don't agree with that, but what is their underlying cause? They want equality for people, and people to, want to have the dignity to, have housing or whatever. And that's something that I can agree with them on. And so, I don't know, I just totally agree with everything you said. So.
Definitely have to second what Shalay said. That was absolutely eloquent, beautifully stated. And I actually had an experience yesterday talking to my 18-year-old son, and we have a little disagreement about something political that's in the news right now. And I kind of tried to do what Sister Barlow, is that her last name? What she was kind of talking about. And I really finally kind of pulled back and I said, tell me why you feel the way you do, and what about this makes you feel that way. And I just let him talk, and he explained himself. And while we didn't ever come to a complete agreement, but at the end he said, Mom, thank you for listening to me. And I understand your position better. And I said, you know what? I understand yours. I mean, this is real. This is as real for him as it is for me. And I think it was like suddenly this, and we weren't fighting in the beginning, but by the end, he's like, you know what? I really see what you're saying, because I was able to reframe it, like she said, and I started asking him questions. So if you believe this, so what, blah, blah, blah. And we went on, and it was just a great conversation. And I thought, why don't I always do this? I mean, it was so civil and so nice. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's really great. Thank you for sharing, guys. Does anyone else want to add to this before we move on to another question? Okay. So I was kind of looking on the list here of questions. And I don't know, one of them here says, like, what characteristics and attributes did Elder Holland expound upon that will help us to be more effective advocates? And I think, so we were talking about how it is hard to advocate sometimes, especially, we have so much love for these people and we just want to help them so much. So what, I guess, principles that were in those talks, or what characteristics or attributes do you guys think is helpful in those kind of situations where we are advocating and maybe there's, like disagreements, or, people are being unkind? What kind of things have you guys found that help you, or things from the talk that you found?
So I said very much. I'll go ahead and say something now. The last, I would say, year, maybe 2 years, I've been thinking how important it is to, we talk about being Christ-like, we talk about charity, we talk about kindness, and sometimes I think we think that that's an abstract, like, yes, we need to love everyone, but I really do think that if we can really see another person as a child of God that's loved every bit as much as I am by my Heavenly Father, who I should as I love myself, because that's a commitment, then the way we talk to another person and the way we I tell my kids this all the time. I have 2 girls left at home. I have 5 kids, but 2 are left at home. And they, sometimes the way they talk to each other, it's not like what they're saying, but it's like how they're saying it. And I tell them all the time, you wouldn't talk to me like that. Like, the way you're talking to your sister is not the way you would talk to me. So I don't know why you think that you can talk to her like that. Again, not the way we say it. And I think that if we can take that principle, not what we say, but how we say it. I guess we also have to be eloquent. We have to know what we're talking about. But when we can really, really look at the person across from us as a child of our Heavenly Father who is so worthy of love, and we've got a little taste of that with President Brooks' talk too. Such a great talk. That our worth doesn't matter what we're doing. We are loved by our Heavenly Father, and if we can change our way of thinking to where we really, really feel that Christ-like charity. And charity is kind of I love that word because it doesn't really encompass the love of our Savior to me. The word has kind of changed a little bit. We're not a charity case, but if we can develop that charity, that real love for somebody else, we wouldn't use those words to hurt each other. I think that's that's really the attribute of Christ that we need to develop the most, is just that genuine love for the person that we're speaking to.
Yeah.
Go for it, Rachel. Sorry.
Oh, I'm just sitting here thinking. I was thinking one attribute is to be patient, even with someone who you disagree with. Because kind of going back to what Allison says, if you're not patient, then you're going to come out saying things that you don't really mean, and also in a way that isn't probably the best. So I think being patient is an important one. And I think it's, I don't know, I just lost my train of thought. But being patient is important when being an advocate for things, and allowing someone to say how they feel, and also being patient with them when you're listening to them and hearing what they have to say, and not immediately being like, nope, you're wrong, and being like, well, this is what I believe, and this is what should be happening. And so I think patience is a big one, and it's definitely one that I need to work on. Just when people are like, same-sex marriage is like so good, and you're like take a step back, and you're like, okay, well, the research shows this, and then so you just kind of step back, take a little breath, and just be patient with them, and because they might not know everything, and so stuff like that.
I would say an attribute is humility. I think I've learned in my life, at least, that it's very rare that someone is all right and the other person is all wrong. I try sometimes, in any kind of disagreement or any kind of relationship issue, recognizing to some degree, even if it's small, even if I have the doctrine on my side, I'm not 100% right, because I'm human and I make mistakes. And so I think understanding that it's unlikely that one person is completely right and the other person is completely wrong. If we're both right and we're both wrong to some degree in almost every situation. I think humility is a big one.
That's awesome. I guess I didn't really think about that, but I think it's important what you said, to realize that sometimes we polarize things, and there's a lot that we can find that's good and bad on both sides. I was thinking, so yesterday too, I had a conversation just with my supervisor for my internship and one of the other interns, and we were talking about what it means, to be an advocate. And something that my supervisor told me that I had never really considered before, I guess, but is super important, is being reliable. And she talked about, being reliable in the sense that, we have dependable sources and things, but she said we also need to be reliable in the sense that people know that they can come to us, and I was thinking sometimes, we share this knowledge that we have, and then people may not be ready for it, or people, may agree with us, but then quietly, come to us and say, hey, I trust you. Like, can you please, help me out, or tell me more about this? And just, she talked a lot about building relationships of trust with people. And I think that's super important with everything that we've been talking about, with having that humility, with finding that common ground. It's so important that we build those relationships of trust, so that when the time comes, if someone decides to change their mind, or even if they don't, even if they're just curious about our viewpoints, they know that they can come to us, and that we're going to be someone who is open and honest with them, but who also cares about them at the same time.
I was thinking back to Rachel's comment about, now I'm forgetting what I was going to say. How sometimes, I don't know if she said this exactly, but this is what I thought. Sometimes we actually do look like we're hateful in our beliefs, because of the way that the media and just the world packages our beliefs, I think. The way that they say that love trumps hate, I mean, they're saying that we're the hateful ones then. Because if they're the ones that are loving, then there has to be an opposite to that. But that's not even how it is. And like we were saying, I mean, really, we just need to explain what our beliefs are, because I think they're just confused and they just have heard all these rumors and they just have this negative attitude towards us because of lies. So I mean, really, they're not in the wrong. Like if those things that people are saying about Christians are true, then yeah, I mean, we are hateful. But since it's not true, then I think we just need to explain. But I really like in Elder Holland's message, I think you guys discussed this. A couple of you put this on your discussion board, posted this on your discussion board about Elder Holland's talk about how in our day we're not supposed to flee anymore. We're not supposed to leave. We're supposed to stay put, and that we'll be able to, or at least I was thinking that it meant that we'll be able to create refuge here. This is our Zion. And so even if we still suffer from persecution, and even if maybe, again, people are creating lies about us, we'll be able to prosper here. We'll be able to have success here, because this is where we're supposed to be. And so I think just back to how we were talking about just staying firm, but also, loving. But I just really like that from Elder Holland's message, and that helped me to, I mean, sometimes I look at the world getting worse, and it's just like, yeah, in the past we have fled, we have, been able to be rescued, or I don't know, but I mean, and we will when the second coming happens, but for now, we're just kind of supposed to sit tight and just not fight, but instead promote the family. I would like those terms also that we learned. Protect and promote the family, instead of always talking about fighting. And I mean, defending is also a good word, but it kind of seems like we're supposed to be rough, So I like that. I like that we learned that this week.
I really like that in my patriarchal blessing. It says that my home will be a refuge from the storm, or from the world. And now that you said that, I'm like, yeah, like I want my home to be, and I've thought about this, I want my home to be somewhere where my children and my family can feel safe, and they can talk about some of the issues, and I can teach them what we believe and everything, and they can have their opinions. And in our home, it's not going to be like, oh, you're wrong kind of thing. It's going to be like, okay, we're going to talk about this, and also it's a good, like, we're going to stand our ground and not flee, like you said, and just, this is what we believe in, just teach the good things in our home. And I also want our home to be a place where, like, other people can come, and like you said, we can be or what Shalia said, we can be trusted to, if people want to talk, come and talk to us and be like you said, well, I heard this, and can you expand more about that? And we can be like, okay, of course. And so I think that's kind of, now that we're thinking about, that's kind of what my patriarchal blessing is kind of talking about, just being a safe place where we can talk freely about what we believe and stuff like that. So I don't know if that made sense, but it's just what I thought.
It did. And sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've taken a parenting class before, and so I just was also thinking when you said that the children in the family feel like they have a say, and like they're a part of the family when they can talk about it, and when their opinions are acceptable, like that they don't feel like they're being rebellious because they believe differently. So I don't know, I just thought about that, and how, yeah, we need to keep our home that way too, to where our children can learn how to articulate their beliefs, even if maybe they don't understand them at first. We can kind of testify, or I don't know, just share what we believe, and then they can take it. And anyways, that's what I was thinking of.
That's super, super good point. I was thinking too, so like who has kids, I guess, first is the question. Okay, Allison and Alicia. Okay, so I have a question for you guys then. So what have you guys done to make your homes like places of refuge, like Rachel and Stephanie were saying.
Do you want to go first? Go ahead. Okay. I think that's such a big, such a big thing. If I can think about one thing, we want our homes to be temple-like. We want our home to be a place that's safe, where the spirit can be. I want my kids to grow up believing the same way I believe. Obviously, I mean, I have a testimony that's true, and that brings happiness. But if I can't teach them in a way that encourages them to gain their own testimony, then I think that's where I would fail as a parent. Not that I'm going to force my beliefs on them, but I need to make my home a place where they can learn, they can express feelings, they want to bring their friends. It needs to be a place where they're comfortable bringing their friends. If they've got a friend that doesn't believe the same, are they afraid to bring them into my house because I might yell at them? You have to create your home to be a place where the spirit dwells and it's comfortable. And I think really the best way to do that is, number one, starting young by teaching correct principles. I mean, you know the answers to this. That you pray with your kids from the very beginning. You read your scriptures with your kids, even though they can't read. You set the example and be consistent. You go to church even when you're out in the hallway walking around with your baby because they won't sit quiet inside the meeting. But it's a pattern. You go to church because that's what we do on Sunday. So creating an environment of learning and being consistent, I think, are the best advice I can give you at this growing moment. I might be able to come up with lots more things if you give me a little bit, but those are what I thought I've heard off the top of my head.
Okay, so I'll just share two quick things. I came to a realization a few years ago that the greatest gift my mom gave me was what she knew. It was, I know in any circumstance what she would do, how she would act, and what she knows. And we were reading last night, we're in Alma with our kids in the part where it talks about the stripling warriors and how they did not doubt their mothers knew it. And I've realized, I have 2 kids out of the house and 3 more at home. And I've really realized the greatest gift I can give them is I can't make them do anything. I can't make their choices. And we have discovered that you kind of think you can in the beginning. You can't. But they can know without a doubt what I would do, what I would say, how I would act, because I know it. And so I would say that's the first thing is, and it goes along with what Allison said, is you live the gospel as a mom. You live the gospel, you love the gospel, you show them that you find joy and peace in the gospel. And the second thing is, and it kind of leads me or makes me think of something President Hinckley said years ago, feed them, feed your children's friends, make cookies, make your home somewhere that those friends want to be because they are loved, they are welcomed, and your food bill will be out of control. I have 4 sons and 1 daughter, and all the boys were always here, and I just fed them. And they knew this was a safe place that they could come and be loved and fill their bellies. So those are my 2 thoughts.
I love that because all of my friends come to my house now that you say that, and my mom feeds everyone. She's like, "Oh, you're sad? Here, I'll make you something. Oh, you want to have a deep conversation? You sit at the bar while I make you something." And I love that she did that and that you did that. And because like some of the most important talks were at the dinner table or while my friends and I were sitting at our bar, and so I love that.
I agree with you. I was kind of laughing to myself because, like, yeah, I mean, my friends would come over growing up, but my younger brother had this one particular friend, and we had like a little corner of the counter that was food just for Garrett. Like, my mom's like, "Hey, this is Garrett's food." So, like, I don't even know. But no, I love your suggestions, and thank you so much for sharing them. I don't know. I appreciate that you guys have that experience that you're willing to share with us, because like I don't have kids yet, but you know, obviously one day I want to have kids, and I think it's so important, like you said, to start early. And I think those are principles that all of us can apply to our lives, you know, just living the gospel and like continuously strengthening your testimony, and you know, like just having the environment of your home just be a place where the Spirit can be, and learning to just, you know, love people and like take them in, you know, when they come. So that's awesome. I guess so. We're almost at time, but does anyone have anything else they wanted to add before we summarize?
Did anybody else have a hard time watching the Prager video? Is that just me? Like I understood what he was saying, but after watching Sister, I guess it's Sister Barlow. I mean, she's got to be a member of the church, right? Sister Barlow. After watching her little discussion and how we need to speak with compassion and kindness and find middle ground, and then watching, and I usually really like Prager, but then watching the way he was kind of demeaning and argumentative, and I thought, that's not going to win anyone over. Did anybody else have a thought on that, or was that just my frame of mind? No thoughts.
You want to say something, Chalet? Am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
It's Chalet. Okay. I was just going to actually say, and maybe this is horrible to say, but I love Sister Barlow's video, but I felt like it was a little more divisive. It was very much them and us, and I didn't like that. She was great, and I loved the information, but I felt like that kept being highlighted, like the left and the right, the conservatives and the liberals, and that was what kind of rubbed me just a little bit the wrong way. Maybe that's bad to say. I don't know.
I think that's fair. I don't know, and maybe this is bad of me to say too, but I feel like find those people that do what you like, what you feel like is best, you know, the most loving but direct, and then just take from that. I don't know. That's what I try to do. You know, I'm like, okay, I like this part of this person's presentation, but this one maybe not so much, so shift that over there and take part of this, you know, and kind of form your own idea.
Alicia, I think with what you said, I understand where you're coming from, because it was like, well, those people on the left believe this way, and we, the good people, believe this way, and so I kind of see that. What I found helpful was, I mean, there are people who are way left, and I found it helpful that she was giving us the information that may be out there. My eyes are being open to things that I never knew were out there. And you girls, bless your hearts. I'm sure that you guys have seen all of that and more. And I'm sitting in my home thinking, life is just great in my little bubble. And so for me, this has been super eye-opening to me. So for her to, I mean, I know that she's kind of polarizing, but I kind of needed that. It's like, this is really what our kids are being taught. This is really this is real world stuff that they're dealing with. So for me, that was like, as hard as it was to polarize, it was pretty eye-opening to me.
Are you guys, is this reading on the loving others or living with others?
This was
Loving others and living with differences, or where is this?
this
I
is
think
Oh, maybe it's in the, hold on.
Is it the valuing others' values, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was like a couple of videos that they had.
So it's like where, so it was the loving others and living with differences, and then right below that was something that said valuing others, I think, and there were a couple of videos to watch. So go watch those. They really are interesting. And
They're really good.
excellent, excellent point.
Yeah, I guess I missed those.
Well, my only thought was, is like, I felt like I wouldn't be able to share that with somebody who did lean that way, because it might have felt like they were pointing fingers. But honestly, her information, I agree, Allison, was really eye-opening and great.
Awesome. All right. So Allison, you're doing the recording, right, today? Is that right? Or who is doing the note taking? Who wants to summarize? Kay.
I am the recorder of the week.
Okay, perfect.
And I'm supposed to give a 2-minute summary. Okay. And I wrote a lot of notes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. I'll try to summarize really quick. So we talked a little bit about what stood out to us this week. Rachel was talking about how we need to love each other unconditionally, and then later on also talked about how our homes need to be a place of refuge for our families and also for others. Bless you. Stephanie.
Thank you.
Stephanie talked about how we need to be careful about judging behavior versus character, and really our fight is a fight for rights, for everybody's rights, not just one person's rights. It's important for us to fear God more than man, and to look out for our fellow men as Christ did, as in the example with the guard's ear. I also love that, Stephanie, that you brought up the Elder Holland's counsel that we're not to flee anymore. We're supposed to stay firm. And really, this isn't part of our discussion, but I really think, when I think of that, I think of, I believe it was President Hinckley also talked about something else he said, but that we just need to bloom where we're planted. Wherever we're at, we turn on our light and we do the best we can and try to make the world around us better wherever we're at. Kelly was talking about how we needed to stay vulnerable in order to have good conversation and not argumentative. If we see people as people with feelings and not as a group, then we'll be a little bit more accepting and better conversation. And then we also need to build relationships and be reliable. Alicia talked about how we need to just take maybe a step back and find, ask people why they feel the way they feel so that we can open up conversation. We talked a little bit about the attributes of Christ. We both mentioned charity, patience, humility, and reliability. And then we wrapped up with our how do we make our homes a refuge for our children. Some of the things we talked about were setting an example, being consistent, doing the little things daily, and feeding. If you feed them, they will come. That's I think about Field of Dreams. I had a really great young women's leader who, that was her mantra. She would say, you know what, if we got food, people are going to come. So that was her thing. If we feed them, they will come. It didn't matter what activity it was. We had to have food, which I'm all good with that. So that was my wrap up. Anything we need to add to the sum up?
I think that sounded great. Thank you. Awesome. All right. So, anyone else want to add anything before we go?
Alicia, you'll be posting this,
Yeah.
right? You're muted.
Perfect.
I'm happy to lead the discussion.
For next week?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Awesome. So we shall do that. Is there anyone who wants to do the hangout on air? Who wants to set it up and then send us a link?
I'll do it
Allison?
for next week.
Okay. And then, does anyone want to take the notes next week? So do the summary recorder.
I can do the recorder next week.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, well, I guess. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, everybody.
We'll try to get our 6th member in next week. I feel bad for her.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's true. I don't know. So, I guess we'll just try our best.
Yeah.
Maybe you could send her a copy of this link too, so that she can at least see what happened. I don't know if she'll want to watch it, but she might.
And she should be on our discussion board thread too. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Okay.
good luck with everyone in your paper this week.
Ooh, yeah. Good luck, everyone.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Stephanie.
Enjoy conference.
Stephanie.